So here we are at the Manna Gallery in Oakland, California, where Donna Westerman has a magnificent show of woodcuts and wood engravings and etchings and wood and egg tempera and so on. So Donna was telling me earlier about the techniques that she was using for these printing and for this magnificent print at the back here, and talking about the relief engravings over on the right, and over on the left we talked earlier about the egg tempera. So I just wanted to have Donna tell us a little bit about the printing of these plates, and then about how she put together the very large piece at the back, of which these on the right are parts. So Donna, would you start talking about this piece right here?
Yes, this is the last piece of the installation. And all of these pieces have a crosshair in the center. In the installation, they're put together as though they're from satellite photographs, and that's what this crosshair represents. And this end piece is where the weather systems, which start at the Himalayas, end up at the Pacific coast. And so, since we're in San Francisco, this is a map of San Francisco and the bay, San Francisco Bay, Point Reyes, and so on. And these are the ocean currents as they're coming towards landfall. So this is the last piece, the sixth piece. This particular one is the second to last. And where you see on each of these a black section, a black rectangle entering, is where the piece next to it on the right overlaps it in installation form. I like it as it is because it's kind of an ominous thing that's moving into the image, and so I think it works really well on its own. Again, these are the ocean currents as they're coming towards San Francisco. Here, you have a larger black piece where this piece overlaps, and it's the end of the cloud formations as they are forming over the ocean. So you use end of the cloud formations and looking down onto the clouds, and then again the ocean currents as they run through. And these are done on okawara paper, Japanese paper that comes in a roll. I needed something that would come in a very large roll. So I like the tone of the okawara. It's a little creamy color, and I like the way the black looks on that cream paper. Each one of these has been run through the press maybe 5 times in the inking of it. I needed to get a dense black, so what I would do is run it through the press, ink it with a brayer. I use a very large etching press, which is an American French press, which is over at Callao. And I lift up, after it runs through, I lift up the paper, holding it down very steadily on one side, lift it over halfway, and then re-ink it. Lay it back down, lift the other side up, re-ink it, lay it down, run it through, and I do this about 5 times for each print. Well, there are 6 prints in the whole piece, and it's an edition of 10. So that's a lot of printing.
Would you tell a little bit? That's a lot of printing.
Yeah.
Would you say something about the fact that the other prints have mica in them, the ones on your left?
These do not.
Yeah.
These are just black ink on the okawara paper. The installation itself is not on okawara, it's on shikoku paper, a white paper. And after I finished printing, while the ink was still wet, I applied the mica, which is sieved onto the surface.
Huh.
And then after it's sieved onto the surface, I layer it with a piece of paper and kind of push the paper into it and go over it with my hand, gently over the whole thing, and let it sit there for a while. And then I take lift up that paper, and then take a very soft brush and brush evenly the excess mica off the image.
I'm going to go up and get close up. It's pretty hard to get that reflective quality, but it's really...
it sparkles. Yeah. And it's an old Japanese technique. They used it a lot in the ukiyo-e images in the backgrounds of the women, where they had the combs through the hair and
Huh, I didn't know that. And this paper
So
you said earlier
this is
was
Shikoku.
Shikoku.
Yes,
Yeah.
another Japanese paper.
Yeah. And would you talk about just going from left to right, what we're seeing here?
Well, it came from my husband is a sailboarder, sail surfing, windsurfing, and he asked one of his colleagues at Berkeley why the winds always seemed to come from one certain direction or two certain directions as he was sailing off the coast. And it was explained to him that over the Himalayas, this is Mount Everest here, this image is Mount Everest. The wind comes over the top and there's a great high, a very strong high that's formed over the Great Plain of China. That sets up a series of highs and lows that come across the Pacific, and that determines the wind direction as it hits the coast. So this is based on that image. I liked it without putting in all of the highs and lows as I was originally going to do with silkscreen. I thought it was strong enough on its own. So really what it is the Himalayas. This is the rotation of the Earth, the shape of the Earth, our Earth, the Himalayas, the wind moving across, forming the wind and the clouds and so on that come across the Pacific. These are like ship's trails. So it moves from straight looking on straight to the Himalayas to then looking down onto the surface of the water. And then as it moves across, then you get the currents, the ocean currents, and then finally you end up at the coast of California.
Just magnificent.
And they're like this, they're kind of cattywampers like this because that's how satellite photographs are put together.
That's
And
great.
I do that in a lot of my prints actually.
Ah.
Yeah, break it up that way.
Thank you, Donna.